Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to season 18 of the Night Owl here from the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Jesse Lee is putting me off. See, this is what happens, Jesse. You bring me back like classic Night Owl, and it all goes terribly wrong, you see. Anyway, we are here at Austria at the Red Bull Ring for what is shaping up to be a great night of racing. Here alongside me as well is Phil Roberts, hoping to bring us some, well, brilliant commentary on the racing. And from the looks of practice, Phil, it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it should be very interesting. I'm a bit with this typical Niall start, isn't it, with Jester in our ears, called Jesse Lee. Bit of alliteration there. I think as we're about to go on board, and hopefully we're going to have a lap on board with Les Stevenson here. It is 90 seconds round this track, Ryan Mawson. Put your foot down, come up to the first corner, you're looking out for the 100-meter board on your top left, brake just before it, bring it down to like third, second gear, hit that apex. You can use a bit of that sausage just to keep you on track limits there, as Les has done. A nice little driving in, up we come up the hill now, we go through turn 2, which is this one here now. I'm not really sure this counts as a turn, but it does anyway. It's the second real turn, turn 3, 100-meter board, you can brake. Sometimes it invites you to brake later, but you just want to keep your braking distances noted there as we come down the hill now. Going into turn 3. This is downhill turn. Don't want to get this wrong because you're going to end up in the gravel if you're not careful. 100-meter board again. Down into second gear. Try and aim for that late apex. So just missed that there. But yeah, just try and use as much of that, I don't want to call it AstroTurf as possible. Don't hit the gravel. Come in here. 50-meter board down to third gear with a double left-hander. Bit of steering there from Les, a bit of oversteer, but we credited it fine. Coming into the second one, this one you're waiting an agonising long time here for the accelerator pedal. I think that McLaren just goes through that like nobody's business basically. Nice high downforce car coming up the brow, pit entry on your right. We come in there fit just before the 50-meter board, down into third gear. Try and use as much of this track as you can. You think you don't have much, but you do have a lot of track limit there as well. And I think we just invalidated a lot through the last corner, but pretty good lap there from Les Stevenson now, apart from the last corner of Ryan Mawson.
And there you go, yeah, 128.495, but as you said, invalidated on the last corner. It looks very, very scary from the inside of that McLaren, a very low-slung car. It makes this track look even more daunting than it is as people start to come across the line. Joe Dauber in the 777, the Mercedes, taking the early charge. What has Groom and Lilith got to say about that? Well, they've got an invalid lap to say about that. But earlier on, the GT3 Mercedes, still a hard charge around here. You know, when you've got the big V8 under the bonnet, it really, really likes to pull. And John Daly getting just that little bit closer as well in the BMW, less than a tenth of a second away. I think that's going to be, and I don't think, you know, Jordan Daly's sort of really wound up yet. These cars take a long time to warm up. I've noticed especially at the Red Bull Ring, because there's so many straights here. You try and get some heat in the tyres for the few corners you've got, and then you know, coming down the back straights and the front straight, you just lose all of that heat once again.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Ryan. I'd say that as well. There's not that many corners on this track. There's probably less than 10. Maybe I haven't really counted. Maybe Ryan Gill, with his track turn obsession, can tell us one day. But it is not many turns, and I do agree. There's a few straights here, but there's not many turns either, and ergo you think, oh, there's not many to remember. But then there's not that many tracks to, or there's not many turns to try and master, should you say? So there's not really that much in the track to try and gain time. As Joe Dauber now goes a bit faster, 128.0 is now 3/10 faster. And Raphael Huell in the 21 BMW, I must admit the Huell here probably has a bit of an advantage along with Dauber. They both drove these two particular cars in the 24-hour of Red Bull Ring last weekend, Ryan. So they've had plenty of practice, I'd say, in these two cars.
Yeah, the first of the 27s now getting down onto it, and that's quite impressive considering as well. The other thing we really didn't talk about, the track temperatures today, 37 degrees. That will help with the tyre temperatures that we're on about, but quite a blistering day out there. And speaking of cars, and ones that I even haven't seen, and because of the time that I've been off from the commentating, Ted Edwards, who's our ex-commentator's now decided to take behind the wheel from changing it from the microphone to the steering wheel in the Ford Mustang GT3. That and this was a car when it got added. I was just so happy to see it. You know, we've had the we've had the Camaro, the big bouncy GT4s, and I remember we were always thinking about, oh, maybe we'd get like the Brit car GT4. That would be fantastic. But then we got this absolutely rumbling GT3. It just looks amazing. I love it. And oh, that's Joe Dauber in the background. I think the 777 takes a tumble as Ted Edwards takes fourth.
Yeah, what happened there? Let's see. Sorry, Ryan. Let's see what happened here. I think we just had a bit of a moment because, you know, through the final turns, I think you can try and grab as much of that inside curve as you can. I think Joe Dauber probably grabbed a bit too much of that inside curve as yeah, I think he's you know, just unsettled the car and it's just come up. But it's qualifying, so no real harm done, I'd say, Ryan. Really, I mean, there's a broken car, but you can just return to garage and you get a brand new one. As Neil Pimlott looks like he had a bit of a oversteering moment for that turn. Another driver with plenty of experience. He's had a whole 24-hour of driving in that Ferrari from last weekend. Drove for dropping the hammer. But yeah, it's some. I think these last two turns, Ryan, you have to. They're sort of like flowy corners. I think once you like lose your flow in the first bit, you can't really gain it back for the final corner. If I'm making sense.
Yeah, well, also if you go out any wider than what you than what you want to, you're onto the marbles, and then we've already seen it's very easy to lose control of the car there, especially because that's downhill and it is a very hard camber. What may not appear on our broadcast cameras as a driver, it's a very, very hard camber into the final turn, and that can upset your car if you've got it especially low slung with your setup. But yeah, Neil Pimlott for the silver class. P2 in that, still on a valid lap, and from the looks of it, slightly improving this go around. But as he says, they definitely had some time left to give because of that big slide in the last corner, and everyone's still trying to go around. Still, Raphael Huell is untouched, and De Jong might have something to say about that as they race up to the line, and they do. P4 for the 64's racing team.
I was going to say, Frall has also had a fantastic improvement there in P6. I think he had like 1.7 seconds improvement there. As Neil Pimlott now is basically breaking even with his track times. I think Aaron Jackson just behind him in the Evo, should we say? We're going to call it the Evo for the race. You'll see why when eventually we see it on track. But yeah, you see Adnan Pusina. He's I'm trying to find him on the track now. I've lost him now, Ryan. Actually, no, this is not a good start for me at all.
He's on the 903s, charging down the back straight down to the Raunch. Well, I always call it the Raunch hairpin just because of the.
Why do you call it that?
Well, the board above that you go under, it's advertising Raunch. It's one of the last things that you see, because I can never remember the proper names of corners. You can give me the proper track map. You know, it's like every time we go to Laguna Seca. I know they're all got names. I can't remember any of them. I could try.
Yeah. You know what, Ryan? Like everyone, there's a joke in one of my teams with Laguna Seca. Now you brought it up in corner names. So you know the left-hander just before you climb up the hill towards corkscrewing?
Yes.
I don't know what that one's called. I'm sure Jesse Lee's going to be screaming it in our ears while he's broadcasting and nobody can hear him. So there was a GT4 race where I just kept hitting that thing in the Ginetta because you're on the other side of the car, you can't see where your apex is. I just kept hitting it every other lap, and now it's called Phil Corner for that one reason. I just kept hitting it, and.
It is actually now. Canon is Phil Corner.
It's Phil Corner. It's called Phil Corner. It's like well, we were joking about this at the start because we said the Alton Park's the Phil Roberts ring is what it's also known as now. But
also, yeah. What we were just saying in the background, looking at the silver class, Adam Pacina took the P2 in the Porsche. I kind of expected more Porsches at the start of this, but they've kind of like died off a little bit. But I think De Jong may be seeing a slight promotion depending on how his race goes. I mean, that is the only thing that you can say. Some people are hard chargers in the qualifying, but you put fuel in the car and they can't do it. I was always the opposite that I found when I was racing. I can't qualify, but I just don't slow down. And looking at the background, that must be a terrifying thing. Looking in the mirror is the Ford chasing you down. It's just, especially with the the Dayglow yellow on the front. At least you won't miss it. See, on board from the wing cam, look, it's the mighty Mustang. It's trying to chase down Les Stevenson.
Just a big brick, just like, just trying pushing air through. Like, there's no Nissan. There's no Nissan in this one.
You get lightly tapped by the Mustang and you're sent off into orbit. Here's the Evo.
It's like getting hit by a tank. And here is the Evo. And Aaron Jackson in his I don't know which one it is. Which one was it in the film? Was it an Evo?
It was a Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Was it an Eclipse? Oh,
it was an early Eclipse.
Just terrible. But I can't. Tell you what, Ryan. I don't know anything about Mitsubishis because I prefer Subarus. So there.
You're gonna spark, like, the YouTube comments now and the chat. That's gonna be it. It's now gonna devolve.
Come at me, chat.
It's gonna devolve into Subaru versus a Mitsubishi. It's under 3 minutes.
You take Tommy Mäkinen out, Mitsubishi just nothing, right? you have to. I can name you. They can name you at least like 3 different champions in a Subaru Impreza. Can't do that in a Mitsubishi.
Well, one people about naming champions and the people who could be looking at Grim Lilith for the Mad Panda Motorsports. What have they got to say? Grim, still one of the fastest controller players I have ever seen. Has always puts on a good show. Always has been around Night Owl. It's great to see they're still rocking it here. Up to P7, a big jump up. Put themselves right behind Ted Edwards in the number 8. What has Aaron Jackson got for the 99? Slight improvement, but still a long way to go. 2 minutes left. You're going to have to start counting your laps because, well, unless you're on a flyer now, you might only get 1.
Yeah, I'd say we've got enough time. I think everyone now has enough time to get round for 2 laps, Ryan. At least if my math's right. I'm hoping it is. It is a weekend. I'm not paid to do mathematics on a weekend, so we'll see on that one. But we move back. I think we've already said this before. I think we're probably looking at the 64's pace. There may be some review of where the 64 should be. We're going back to your point before, Ryan. You've made an interesting point. I always thought my first reaction was Red Bull Ring is a downforce track, and I had the same impression. Oh, the Porsche must be good around here. But actually, it's a power track. So, believe it or not, some of the fastest cars on this track are like Merc, BMW, and surprisingly, the Nissan GTR.
This is when people need to be, need to bring out the old memes. We need the old BMW back with the big twin turbo.
Of course, you want the M6
yes,
back.
of course I want, because it's hilarious as the 64 chips off a little bit more time. Now puts them at a dead tie with Jordan Daly in the 197. Both run a 120. So 127.927 lap time, but because Jordan Daly did the set the lap first, he keeps second place. But it's fine because Jordan Daly coming up to the line, he hasn't got enough this time, but he will get 1 more lap on as the time is sticking now under 30 seconds. It's going to be the last flyer for the 197 if he wants that pole position, which is still not been touched. Raphael, you'll set that bar quite early, and it just hasn't been touched ever since, and I think they're done.
Yeah, they are done completely. But he had pretty solid showing from Raphael Fuel so far. Solid showing from all the BMWs actually, but actually there's only 2. But top 2 BMWs in the top 2, fairly solid at the minute. Jordan Daly's currently nearly a 10 club going through turn 2 at the minute, and De Jong. Where is De Jong? De Jong's coming through the final turn. The final 2 turns are currently breaking even on the lap time. I don't think we're going to see a major improvement. No, we're not going to see an improvement at all from the 64. Sadly for them. Bad though. Jordan Daly's kind of with it at the minute for maybe getting up to maybe just like solidifying that. I think with if he gets through these next few turns properly, he may just be knocking on the door of Raphael Huel, Ryan Mawson.
Yeah, P7 as well for Miguel Martins, moving the 62 Audi up a little bit more. These are all the last charges on the line. And as you says, if Jordan Daly can keep this, it's just about a tenth of a second, but he needs a little bit more.
He
needs less, but he might be a bit too wide, and I think that is an invalid lap, and it is as the session ends. It was so close for Jordan Daly, but it was a bridge too far. Now look at that for a qualifying purples. No one got the full purple lap, and it was the two BMWs with the purple middle at the end. But as he says, the McLaren, where downforce matters, maybe through the first couple of turns, McLaren's got it.
Yeah, I'd say the McLaren actually is surprisingly quite. I mean, if you set it up in a certain way, it does actually have quite a lot of power. At least from certain tracks. Like it's one of the faster cars at Monza, for instance, in a straight line. Joe Dolber in the Merc and Grim Lilith also in the upper Merc in the top 6 as well. So it's certainly a power track as we see the silver class there. So plenty of Ferraris in silver, and we're probably going to see the Ferraris come back in the race. I'd say more. So certainly from my experience from the 24, like Ferrari seems to do better like over a stint rather than over a single lap.
Yes, and if you take out the 64 as a maybe ever so slight outlier here, as they've just blitz qualifying, silver class very close together. You know, from pin lot down, they're all actually very close. So I think that's going to be quite interesting in the race, especially with the the amount of different cars. We've got P2 in silver is that Ferrari, but then you've got the Porsche of Pacina, which we know Porsche wise they're going to be a hard charger off the line. But when you're a silver class car, it makes it so much more difficult, doesn't it? When you get boxed in at the start, you've got nowhere to go, and you end up potentially losing a lot more spaces. And I've just noticed as well, Jesse Lee has put in our chat, which is better, Subaru or Mitsubishi? Look what you've done, Phil Roberts.
Oh, but what do you mean? What have I done? What have I done?
Look what he's done.
Well,
and
well,
so far,
Mitsubishi
Mitsubishi is just absolutely.
Well, guess
it.
what? Guess what? 64% of people are wrong. Listen, right? I am not a sheep. I do not follow what everyone else does. Okay.
He's Phil's like gone off the handles now, and this is brilliant. Welcome to Night Owl. By the way, it's season 18, and it's also round 1, which is round 1, which is why we don't have any standings for you. That's why we.
Well, that's why we're talking about rally cars.
I was going to say that's why we've evolved into rally cars. See, this is what happens when you put custom liveries on your car, people. You know what's going to happen is the next Night Owl race. It's just going to be like a lot of. We need some 555s. You know, we need the 555 and a Tommy Mac.
One second more. I just noticed Matthew Malcolm's put in the chat. They're both great cars. That's centrist point of view. We're not having any fence sitting on at all with this. You cannot sit on the fence.
Phil is only you will fall into one.
You're going to be telling me next you like Toyotas, cheating Toyotas with its turbocharged thing.
I mean, didn't everybody cheat at some point?
No, they did. No, Subaru fucking did. How dare you?
I mean, Ford did.
How dare you? Toyota definitely cheated. They had that really weird. What was it? That thing that like pushed the limiter, the restrictor plate like out of the whole thing.
That is called engineering.
No, it's not. That's called cheat. That's called cheating, Ryan Mawson. You know it's cheating.
Clever engineering. Also, I see in chat.
It's very clever engineering, but it's still cheating.
I see in chat. Yes, it is me, Miguel Martin's Joker. It is me. It has been way too long since we've done the Night Owl commentary. It's always hilarious. This is why I love Night Owl, just because it's just completely crazy.
I'm here to ruin it. That's all I'm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just have to disagree with that one, but never mind. We see some of the. Oh, I didn't realize. I thought that was an in-game livery. That's pretty well done.
Now, Raphael Euler's just got it down to a point on the Robo Markets car. It is a fantastic livery. I do always enjoy seeing, the custom liveries now. I mean, do you remember way back in the day when we couldn't even have them? We got these, and it was just, oh geez.
I do enjoy seeing people's creativity, Ryan. I agree.
Oh, so it's going to be a BMW lockout 1-2, and this says that Mercedes. Now for the McLaren, that's going to be quite. I wouldn't want a Mercedes next to me if I was the 64. Those are very hard charges off the line.
Is Joe Dorber in like a drumstick coloured Mercedes, or is it just me?
It's like a yeah, it's a bit like a sherbet livery.
Yes.
I mean, at least we can see him. That's the great thing, and I do enjoy the Night Owl branding of the 199. I do very much approve of that. It's a brilliant one as well.
Man,
they've even got a logo. Oh,
I think Ted may have made that one.
Way more professional than us. We have a logo.
Yeah, what the heck? Why don't we have a logo? Is it Mad Panda? That's what I think. I think this one's an in-game one as well.
Yeah,
I think. I stress the word think.
Sticker bombed duck. They're the almighty Mustang. Just.
Well, you say almighty. We'll see. It's very good over curbs from memory. Very good over curbs. Yeah. It's like a GT4 hybrid. And there's Les Stevenson in his, I think this is like a Valentino Rossi camouflage-inspired thing.
Or is it a QR code? We will never know.
Whoa, move on, Justin Lee, quick, move on. We didn't see anything.
Monday Gang propaganda.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we need to, actually, Monday Gang, there is a championship coming up, the British GT for Monday Champ. That sign-ups are still open till Monday next week, so you still got another 7 days, I think. So sign-ups close a week tomorrow, I'm going to say, or at least at the end of the week, next Sunday. We see the other, the Mitsubishi Eclipse of Aaron Jackson, and wait, which one's this one? 125. Oh, it's Neil Pimlott. Sorry, Ryan.
And this is down into the silver field. This is the Pimlott, Pacina, and going back. There's another another bright pink camo livery as well. Another one that we're not gonna lose is the 28. Is this? Do we have another? Oh no, we don't have a Monday.
That's a very good logo, that Vulcan Models one. I like the use of a sprue as the for the text is pretty good.
20 seconds.
But we do have Life of a Pilot. Well, hopefully you can put your piloting skills to good use, and hopefully not pilot off the track. That is one thing at Red Bull Ring. How many people are going to get track limits? Very, very easy. I think in the 24, quite a few people were struggling with that, where with track limits. I know quite a few people got one or two very early on, and then held it. And then one team ended up getting a track limits for going into the pits. But I think that's if you go over the white line wrong, well, then the game likes to slap you with it.
Yeah, I think so. I think that the poll is fake. I'm not going to believe the poll. I think people are just very Mitsubishi to spite me. I've decided. I decided it's fake. It's all fake news, and
Phil was gonna wait until he was briefly ahead, and then that's when we needed to stop.
Exactly. And then close the polls. At
and then close the poll.
I'm still waiting for some postal votes to come in for the poll at the minute, so we're gonna have to wait for that.
We've sent it by carrier pigeon to
exactly. Don't you take the mick out of my carrier pigeons, Lawson? Speaking of animals, here's a new animal we haven't seen for a while.
The very cast. I think it's a cast iron statue, if I remember in real life.
Is it not weathered steel? Was it actually cast iron? Or is it weathered steel? It's not weathered steel to me. But sadly, the engineer in me now wants to know what the heck it's made of. Sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna bring that information to you soon, folks. You know,
That'd be great.
let alone the racing. This is the real things as people start to go out on the parade lap, going around 38 degrees. The track hasn't cooled off at all, and you see a couple of people trying to get a little bit of heat into the tires. It's soon going to be the green flag and where the carnage all begins for these drivers.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the thing about track limits more, Ryan. What I was going to say was that this track is surprisingly forgiving in the places where you don't expect it to be forgiving. The last two turns, it's very difficult to actually get track limits, particularly if you just lift off the, you know, when you think you nailed it or you think you've gone over. Turn 1 is probably where we're going to see the most warnings get pinged, basically, because it's one of those corners where it invites you to go faster. And when you nail it, you'd certainly nail it. But if you don't and you go over the sausage, then you get your track limit, basically, and there's no way to get it back. But yeah, I will expect. I'm going to say, Mawson, I'm going to say there's going to be 3 DTs for track limits today. Do you want to take a guess, higher or lower?
We're gonna have Phil is a gambling man, you see. I'm gonna say
I'm not putting any money on it.
Oh no, we're gambling now. I think it's gonna be at least 2, because you know what I mean. It's just always gonna be. But now, as we're two by two, all waiting for the green, the most tense part as a driver, Raphael Hewell's on the outside for this, which is going to be an interesting one. Who's going to get the better launch? As we're still waiting for the green. It's an agonizingly long run down as the green flag drops, and Raphael Hewell has to cover immediately from the BMW of Jordan Daly. Wants to keep that position and does so, as all in the background now. Everyone's still too wide through turn 1, and there is a bit of a contact. The 903 of Pacina has been touched. The silvers scatter around, but everyone still managing to somehow get out of it mostly clean.
Yeah, I think we're just a bit of a moment there for I think it was Adnan Pacina. I think, as you said, Ryan. But most of the field seems to have negotiated through with Pacina's now just a bit of a dive. I think there was a Merc there that just went to the back of a beat. 3 people there. It's one of those things that just catches you out going up to turn 3. It's just how quickly people slow down. So yeah, probably a bit of a moment there for the. I'm trying to find out who that one was now. It's the it's Esperto, I think it was, in the 77. We just see Miguel Martin's Audi go off the track. When does Miguel Martin's Audi, Ryan, anyway?
There's 2 more off the track. There's one Martins in the 12, and the Ferrari is off. There was an Audi involved in that, so something else has gone down at the hairpin. As one manages to get the car and get the 12 back on. They also got tapped by the Mercedes earlier, so they might be nursing a bit of rear end damage already, which is not really what you want in the Ferrari. You don't want any kind of aero imbalance in that car. The new Pimlot got tangled up in the early race chaos, trying to fight their way back. Now is the 125. People up ahead looking down the inside of the last turn, but it's such a difficult move to make, and it does this. It puts you offline. You have to lift, you have to resettle the car, and now the 125 comes charging through, but he's got nowhere to go here.
He's boxed in.
He's got boxed in. Oh. And there's contact between the 125 and the 11. The 11 keeps the position. The 125 backs off, obviously saying, yep, I did a slide to whoopsies there, but they've still got the run on the 65.
Yeah, that's a bit frustrating, really, for Daniel Pimlot. I think not Pimlot in the 125 Ferraris. You see just a bit of an opportunist move here. Nearly goes 3 wide with Bobbins and Lawson there for what's this now? This is P15. I'm not sure what this is in class. Probably like near the front, I'd say. Oh no, hang on. There's I think we'll have P4 or P5 at the minute for positioning class at the minute. Those 3 go into turn 4. It's one of those ones, this turn 4, Ryan, where when you're racing someone, you have to be so careful, because even if you're taking a dive or a lunge at the inside, you can easily just end up in the gravel trap, because gravity's not your friend going into that corner. It's going to keep your car still moving at it's going to make that braking not as well as going up to turn 3, where gravity is helping you slow down. As we move back to the front of the field here, Raphael Hewell still leads Daly, and De Jong still in 3rd place. Joe Dorber and Matthew Malcolm making up the top 5 there, Ryan.
Yeah, it was a great a few corners there from the up-in lot, getting back around the outside, which, as he says, not an easy thing to do. The lead still held by Raphael Hugh, but Jordan Daly has taken the Speed Juice fastest lap so far with that purple next to their name. And as he says, looking back through the field, Drib Lilith now find their way, or they're still trying to find their way through. Now, this is a bit of a race replay. This is Jackson and Kearton, lap 1. What happened here? Just a touch on the Porsche, and that's what sent off Adam Pacina and caused the whole concertina effect. That's also where we see how Neil Pimlott ended up behind everyone there. It was just the concertina effect, and you have to avoid during those situations.
Yeah, I'd say this is going like 3 wide into the turn, so it's probably the case that when you're 3 wide in ACC, you could, if you're 3 wide but wide 3 wide, if that makes sense. Your helicourse can only see this first car, so I think the BMW, I've forgotten who that was. Les Stevenson goes for a dive on the goodness me, that's what we was talking about just then when you go for a lunge up the inside into turn 4. I think either Les just lost where he was, like in terms of his braking point, because obviously he was on the inside then. It's a bit difficult to see those corner markers. I don't think Les is the sort of person that would that sort of makes those sort of mistakes often. I think it's just an innocent mistake there, but yeah, as we see another race replay, plenty of replays here now, Ryan. This is Esperto and Martins as just go off the track there, just another coming together. I think Martins was braking for Stevenson. He saw him on the edge of the track, and Esperto probably didn't spot that one. It's a bit difficult when you're following another car, though, isn't it, Ryan, to see what the car in front is going to be stopping for, particularly on lap 1.
Especially when you sometimes forget that, you know, in the draft, some cars will really gain from it. And yeah, you can find yourself, you might brake at your normal point, but you're carrying an extra couple of kilometers an hour. Well, you're not going to stop. And as he says, Les dived off the road not to hit the Mustang, but in doing so, took out the Audi, who was just a complete innocent bystander there. And then Les sat there, ended up with front damage from the Ferrari being punted off into him as the 46 is trying to make back the positions. Doesn't look like the McLaren's really going to fight it. Once again, the 11 sort of saying, well, you're not in my class. I don't need to necessarily defend anything here for my points. You just let them go by. And as he says, sometimes that is kind of the better idea.
Yeah, I think as we see replay, this is Mark Reinhardt, and I think that's Martins there. I'm not really sure. It's another red Ferrari. We'll see who Pimlott. Thank you, Jesse Lee, just corrected me in the chat. There was on that Ferrari was Pimlott there. I think Juan Martins and Neil Pimlott have a similar coloured Ferrari and in silver. So finally, we're going to see the last of the replays for a bit. Jordan Bobbins and Fred Esperto here coming to turn 3. Bit of a knot, bit more of a knot there. I think that's again, braking points around here can be a bit weird, just because you're going uphill for some, you're going downhill for some. I think it may just be a case of just drivers just getting the hang of it. Like, they're pretty innocent mistakes, I'm going to say, Ryan. They're not anything malicious at all, to be honest, but they're still obviously reportable. It's not live shooting today, but there are post-race stewarding penalties that will be applied if people make the reports, and I do stress the word if they make the reports. But yeah, it's been one thing to note, because you just mentioned about Les Stevenson and the damage. Like, we have got a mandatory pit stop today, and in typical night owl fashion, it is different every race of the championship. So today it's a 57-minute pit window, so it's pretty much the whole race. Drivers have to make a tyre change of 1 litre of fuel at least in the pit stop. Now, Ryan, if you see those pit rules, what's your immediate strategy?
What's the
strategy you can immediately think of?
I mean, for me, I always think it depended on, where I started in the grid. If you were towards the front, then I would have taken quite a lot of fuel
Oh.
to try and escape as the 11. Scott Lawson's had another bit of an issue coming towards the final turn. Seems that it might be a bit more contact. We'll just have a look as the Mercedes is getting closer and closer. In the background, final turn coming through. Oh no, they've clipped too much curb and gone around an ever so slight touch. But getting back to that, I mean, personally, I would have probably taken full fuel if I was at the start of the, the front of the field. You get yourself into a bit of an air gap. If you're in the mid pack, though, personally, I would have gone fairly low fuel, tried to pit early, and for me, once again, it was always getting into that clean air, because you end up with, so much hard racing like this. It can sometimes be a bit detrimental, as sometimes you do have to pick your battles, but you tell that to race car drivers.
Yeah, particularly in an hour-long race, where you sort of forget that you're having to look after these tires. But then again, like, it's only really, the reality is you're only really looking after them on average about half an hour. So there's not really that much you can do to the tires in half an hour. It's going to be detrimental. Usually, like, grading and stuff like that happens, within 30, 35 minutes, as we see Ted Edwards here making a move on Matthew Malcolm. This is for P6. Overall, there's a bit of an oversteer moment then, but Matthew Malcolm's able to just pull away. One of the things about the McLaren, which is probably more frustrating thing for Malcolm, is pretty weak on the brakes. Not the weakest thing on the brakes, but McLaren's strengths are obviously straight line speed and being able to carry that speed through corners. So when you come through some of these low speed corners, I think that's where the McLaren's going to be worse off than the other cars. But as we see, Kaneko here just behind Callum Kerrigan in the pink McLaren, and just behind him is Oliver Kirchen. Now Kirchen, Ryan, obviously not in his class, but I was going to say, like, when you like in different classes, do you find like it's a bit difficult to try and overtake people who are fighting in front of you for position in their class, and they may not be able to see you behind? Oh, and never mind.
Well, I was going to say, you commentate a curse to that man as Masatoshi.
Hey.
I think takes a bit of a tumble. What I was going to say is the 740 rejoins the track, a bit of an oversteer moment there for the Ferrari, and ends up off the road. I was going to say that yes, because as the 1111, you want to get back through, you want to get back to your class, but these two were fighting so hard, and well, that is the sum total of fighting so hard. With Masatoshi Kaneko, that the 740 did look like it had quite some pace. They were charging back through, but maybe pushing the Ferrari just a smidgen too hard through that corner. As you said, you've got to wait so long at that left-hander before you can get on the throttle. It feels like an eternity, and that is potentially what happens, just booting the power a little bit too early. Neil Pimlott still trying to make the moves back up to this is Miguel Martins in front of him, the 62, which I think the 62, considering they haven't been down pit lane, they're still going to be carrying quite a lot of damage from having a McLaren smash into them.
Yeah, I think I'm not really sure where Les hit him actually. I don't think it was square in the back. That's usually the sort of damage that you do want to repair. Square in the back and square in the front. Mainly the back, as you said before. You lose all of that rear end stability, which you really need for even like some of these like bulkier cars. Like I say, the BMW, I'd argue is a bulkier car, but it's not the worst for bulk, should we say? As I just saw on my other monitor there, I just saw Pimlott just go past Martin. But just a point there, Ryan. I'm of the opinion commentator's curse is just driver cope. It's not actually real.
Apart from you going on about bulk, but the M4 is almost, well, I think it is bigger. I think it's longer than the M6. I think it's almost just as wide. Yeah, it's, if you look on the actual BMW specs, it's longer than the M6 from splitter to tail. It's just, I think the M6 looks bigger because it's more bubbly, I think. But these two have still been, neck and neck. Is Raphael Huell and John Daly. It appears that Daly's got a little bit more in sector 1, but then Huell manages to just keep it through the through the final sector. It keeps that gap. It keeps yo-yoing up and down. as the Ted Edwards still trying to get around the 199 of Malcolm's. It keeps getting ever so close, and then, as he says, it's around here. There's only a few places you can really make a pass. Over then, putting someone under so much pressure, you know, that they just make all you need here is that one bad exit, because there's so many straights. You have to get every exit perfect. If you don't, then you know. Ooh. Speaking of exits,
oversteer moments.
I think that's damaged Audi moment. I think that's you know, an Audi that's got some upset aero starting to show. A very good save from Miguel Martins though from these cars. Once the mid-engines let go, normally that is absolute game over.
No, he rode that curve. You know the inside curve. It's really weird. Like it raises the front of your car a bit. And just puts you off as your Pinwatch just had up there. Isn't that yellow car? He's just had a bit of a moment. He's not really sure what's happened as he's pulling up now. So he's probably, I suspect there's a bit of hardware issue at the minute. His brake's just suddenly gone full. So I'm going to guess he's got a bit of hardware issue on his end with his wheel or something. Let's just see a race replay. Then this is just Pinlock coming through the final corner. I think either he just quit the thing now. So I'm going to guess he's had something terminal with his car that he can't fix, which is unfortunate. For Neil, he was putting in some nice little fights there with Martins and some of the other silvers as they were coming through the field. But yeah, we move back to see this fight between Edwards and Malcolm is still going. I think for Ted, it's going to be about weighing up where you're stronger. The Mustang is certainly very strong through the turn 3 and turn 4. So where the heavy braking is. Just because you just have that advantage over the McLaren, but first you have to try and get close enough to make use of that advantage, basically, Ryan. Because through here and through the last two corners, these last two corners and through the two corners before then, Malcolm's certainly got the advantage. McLaren can go through these next two corners fairly competently compared to the Mustang, but yeah, I'm not really sure on the power advantage whether the Mustang has the power advantage over the McLaren.
Yeah, it's gaining a little bit in the straights. You can see what happens with the dirty air though, where you know, Edwards running a little bit wide there, and that's what we've mentioned when you're fighting this hard. That's where the track limits start to creep in. It's coming up. Look at the draft. Will Ted possibly make a move? Looks to the inside, but only just trying to fill the mirrors of Malcolm, the 199. The Mustang gets a bit of a tighter line, but as he says, the McLaren still has the grip out of the corners. That's what's saving it at the minute. But I've seen the Mustang in an actual race setting. It's a lot better than what I thought it might be. As I said, personally, I've never even driven it yet.
Yeah, it's all intensity. Just taking a bit of gravel. You can just see the gravel just get kicked up. A bit of respite for Malcolm there as he goes through the next two corners. He should be pulling a little bit away from Edwards through these next 4 corners, I'd say. And it certainly will be if Ted keeps getting some gravel like he's doing at the minute. But no, I think the Mustang from what I know is very strong over curbs, as most heavy GT3s are in this game. Front engine, so obviously have that stability over the curbs anyway. And I think Ted's going to have to be very careful now, because I think that's track limit warning territory going through that turn there. But we'll see. Eventually, as he's planning to move. I'm not really sure this works, but we'll see if it works. I've seen this plenty of times shooting in the 24-hour, and yeah, he's gone over the curve, and I'm not really sure if that one is going to be something. It'll be very interesting to see that if it is reported, and Ted Edwards giving up the position. I think he's realised that is an overtake with contact. So fair enough, Ted. Well played. Moving back, but unfortunately they've both lost their position, both of them now, to Fraller, as we move on to see Brian here, Mark Reinhardt, and I think that's Adam Pacina now going into the turn 3.
Yeah, that is the 903 of Pacina. Reinhardt making up another position, which is this is podium in the silver class. This is P2 and 3 with De Jong still miles up the road. Is going back up the road a long way. The BMW is still fighting tooth and nail. Let's have a quick race replay of that. See how close John Daly got to the back of Raphael Huell. That was definitely a stab of the brakes avoidance moment. Thought that maybe he had, he needs to get closer to make a move, but you've got to at least give yourself a slight breathing room, as we've had some of the first pitters come in. Neil Pimlott Les Stevenson, the first
I
two
think
down pit lane.
I think Pimlot's rejoining the race, isn't he?
Oh yeah, actually he is. Yeah, the 120. The 125 has been sat there for 2 laps. And we'll see if he. No, there he goes. He has rejoined, and Les has dropped off the jacks and is gone. Oh, there you go. The 125 has officially now retired from the race, but Les Stevenson back out on the track.
Should have had an extended pit stop as well because he's had some damage, and he's just come out ahead of some silvers there. So he's actually timed that pit stop quite well there, Ryan. So probably should try and run away. We have. I don't think he's blue flagged yet, but obviously if you're blue flagged and you feel you're faster than the car behind, then you're more than welcome to stay in front for a lap, but you are suffering a warning as Jesse Lee's lining up the TED contact between him and Malcolm as we see. Just coming into turn 1, I think Ted's decided, yeah, I'm going to take that curve, and yeah, just realises there's a bit of understeer. I think at this point he's just in 2 by to give the position back, but a fair play. Gives it back, and for his troubles he's lost 2 positions. Well, he's lost 8 position, and Malcolm's lost 8 positions as well, both to Fralla. So yeah, the one thing to note as well, Ryan, I just noticed that Aaron Jackson in the Mitsubishi Eclipse is now just sneaking into this fight for P7, looking at the timing tower anyway.
Yeah, just kind of kept themselves out of trouble and kept the nose clean. And well, like I said, they're slowly gaining back in. This is the other thing when you start fighting tooth and nail, you slow each other up, and you end up eventually with bringing yourself into battles. The 903 is going to look up the inside. There's contact again, a lot like what happened at turn 1. 2 into 1 will not go, and here comes the rest of the field as the 177 rejoins, bounces over the curb. There's still contact going down the straight line as Callum Kerrigan says, nope, this position will be mine. The 1111 is now just in the middle, thinking, I don't want to lose to Miguel Martins, slams the door in Miguel Martins' face, says, nope, you're not having that, but look at the speed of the Audi.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was expecting to see an aircraft crash with when Martins just shut the door on Kirchen there, but thankfully they both thought better of it. Just nothing happened there, but thankfully, as we see Martins trying to get past Callum Kerrigan for P11 overall. This isn't for positioning class, but Kerrigan thinks better of it. I'm not fighting his guy, and he's probably seen Kirchen in his mirrors. He probably doesn't want anything to do with Kirchen, knowing Callum. He's fairly steady racer, doesn't want any trouble, and we'll see where he lets him. Well, he'll probably let him through at some point, but yeah, Martin's just running up the road now. He's just behind Reinhardt now, so I suspect Audi should be making its way past these next 2 cars fairly quickly. It's certainly got a bit of a power advantage, Ryan, wouldn't you say?
Oh, the Audi has always been a rocket ship in a straight line, and I think especially if you know what you're doing and you know how to set up it will always be. As Matt Malcolm dives into the pits out of P9s, decided that they've had enough of that, but for the 62, it's actually been a great tactic as that almost. He's put a silver class car between them. Now, you know, Kirchen has to get by as there's a big lunge from Callum Kerrigan, and that's that's been taken out. Callum Kerrigan had to slam the brakes there. The 111 just has nowhere to go. Has to spin the car back around at turn 1. At least at turn 1, you've got plenty of room to do that. And well, off back we go. We'll have a quick race replay of that. You can see they look up the inside. They decide that they're not going to go in. Slams the brakes on the apex. The 111 kind of has nowhere to go.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably going to be. Well, my immediate reaction would probably be that's a big NFA. I'm not really sure what Kirchen's supposed to do in that situation, to be honest. I know what Kerrigan's trying to do, but there's no way that that Kirchen can anticipate that happening. He's already, like, looking at the replay, he's already right there on the scene. So, yeah, I mean, we've had a few incidents like that in World Tour as well, where people just, like, slow down excessively in front of the car, and then it gets, like, no further action, and then I have a driver moaning that it's like, well, they took us out, and it's like, well, no, you're not driving predictably, basically. So yeah, as we move on, Jordan Daly's recovered from his bit of a scare, Ryan, would you say, as he's just coming up to the back of fuel. It's gone down below half a second now, so I think we're in for round 2.
Jordan Daly just had a Raphael Hewell jump scare. That was all it had. But
what?
Yeah, you know, you just have a slight moment, and then it's all good
Is
again.
that specifically just for Raphael Hewell?
Yes, could be.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Sorry, Ryan. Sorry, go on.
Oh no! It's a big contact there. We literally was just I was just about to say the gap's come back up, and you know
Oh, he's
that
running
is
off. He's
yeah. There goes John Daly. I was just about to say the gap's been yo-yoing backwards and forwards, where John Daly's been stronger and where Huell's been stronger. But it's finally happened. He's gone for the inside move, but John Daly's not taking this laying down. There's a bit more contact from the 197. The 64 trying to desperately hang on to their position. There goes the power of the BMWs. Jordan Daly's not going to take this laying down. I think Raphael
what a
Hewell has
move.
got back on the
Oh
road.
no! He's carried too much speed.
Oh,
he's hitting more
bit,
people.
There's going to be a bit more contact. And while we've all been thinking about this, here comes Joe Dauber, the 777, out of nowhere to take the lead of this race in the actual pro class. You can see the flash of the headlights. Is he going to try it all the way around the outside? He is.
Wow.
There's just enough room for a BMW and a Mercedes. Now, down the straight, who's it going to be? Mercedes, BMW, and then the McLaren's thinking, can I get the toe? Can I get past Jordan Daly? This could all end in tears. It's going to be very tight as well. Still more contact.
It's a bit like Verstappen and Leclerc. What was that, like 2016, 2017? They had a little coming together, and it took them ages to like decide on what the penalty should be. But yeah, if I was Joe Dauber, I'd be loving life right now. He's I think Daly's basically got a penalty hanging over him at the minute, but yeah, well, a penalty after the race, should we say? But yeah, Dauber's now in prime position now to take a fairly big result from this race if he does well. But De Jong there's probably not going to take that line down. He's gone from like P1 down to P3 in the space of a couple of corners. So Huell's pitted. I think he's either spun and he's just replacing his tyres that he spun on, and replacing it and getting some damage sorted. Grim Lilith also in pit lane now. So Hewell and Lilith currently leaders of pitted the of the pitted cars. And now Ryan, let's see what happens here.
Late braking from the 197, the Raphael Hewell has slowed down a bit more up, and as you said earlier, you know, if you think you can carry that speed, maybe you can carry that speed through the corner, but not when someone else is in front of you, and that's what essentially ends up happening. It's just a little bit of contact. Here is the replay from Joe Dauber. What happened to them? This is coming up. Bit more of a touch on Daly. This was turn 3, trying to get through everyone. Just a bit of a touching there. As you says, Raphael Hewell and Grim Lilith both dive down the pit lane. And looking at them, I don't think Raphael Hewell's really got any damage from that, or they've elected not to fix it because they were almost the same time as Grim Lilith down the pit lane. So I don't think there's at least any lasting damage from that. And a sad report from the Bobbins camp. The reason that they retired is their game crashed.
Well, that's unfortunate to hear. It's one of those things really where like you can't really help it, can you? Like there's only so much you can do when your game crashes. I mean, it's sadly one of those things, really, isn't it? Like it's only an hour race, so a game crash is 2 laps behind. I mean, it's it's like 90 seconds in pit lane to recover, but then you start to account for like loading in and stuff like that. So by that time, you probably lost 2 laps. As Ted Edwards now makes his way past Frella, as De Jong now is right on Dauber's backside going into turn 1. Dauber's not having any of it. Jesse's trying to put me off again, and it's not working. I'm just going la la la. I'm not listening, Jesse. As De Jong comes up the hill, still right on the case for Joe Dauber's boot, as they just come into turn 3 now. As Adnan Pusina comes in for his stop. That's very careful, Ryan, for a pit entry.
Yes, well, I have a feeling that I was going to say I have a feeling that well down there as well there is multiple lines, and you know, if you've maybe not been paying 100% attention, I've done it at a few tracks where you come in and you think, oh, actually, what is the line? So you just kind of have to recover yourself. It's better you do that then get a you know, an SG30 for speeding, because you know,
Yes.
we've all let's say, I say we've all been there and done that. A lot of us have been there and done that. I know, because I've been there and done that. But I think for this, Jordan Daly at this point, he will be loving it, because you know, Joe Dauber's really got to contend with that, with the 64 of De Jong. You know, that's slowly edging him out for the 197. If they're going to, you know, continue this lead, they need to pull this out while they've got this clean air before coming into the pits, because I don't think as well, you've got the 199 up the road a little bit, but I think the 111, they're either going to join alongside them or just behind them. There they are coming out of the pits. It's still going to be clean air for John Daly.
Yeah, it's I think he has to try and use this, as you say, just use this advantage as much as he can. These two cars, I mean, Joe Dorber's now pulling away from the Young now, so it's probably going to die down a bit now. But he's certainly comfortably faster along with Yule than the two behind him. But he has to build this gap now. He's going to at least have a 10-second penalty if it gets reported at the end of the race. I mean, I'd suggest it's probably going to be a bit harsher than that. But we'll see as Huel now. He's on the recovery drive now. You've got to put a lot of faith in yourself and your own consistency, Ryan. When you're racing on your own, it's a bit like well, it is pretty much hot lapping with yourself, but you're gonna have to trust that you're going fast enough to gain the positions back. I mean, how much time did he lose? He lost about 10 seconds, maybe, because I think he was spun and then he had to wait to rejoin safely. So Huel's definitely lost some time, but I think you'll probably, when these got pit, I think you'll come out with Dorber, or at least either around him by the time they pit, if they pit in the next, well, they pit by the end. But I think these two, looking at the times, I think we should be seeing people pit now. And I think we just saw Jordan Daly go into pit lane. Oh, he did. As if I just saw that, Ryan.
As if. So the 197 dives down at pit lane for their stop. As he says, Raphael Huel starting to put back in the consistency. Some of their last laps were only, you know, 3/10 slower than their best, and that's fairly fresh out of the pits, still with, you know, unknown damage. And so, as he says, back into the consistency zone. That promotes the 777 up to the lead of the race. Not that they can really, you know, relax and take a calm breather in this, because the 64's right back on it. Maybe they charged away a little bit, just kind of let the McLaren reset, and they're right back on the tail. And as well, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see where everyone starts to come out. Grim Lilith is now only 4 seconds behind Raphael Huel. That's how much time they lost in the pit lane and the spin and the spin, the incident, and the recovery. And as he says, halfway the race, it seems a lot of people have elected to that strategy. Miguel Martins for the 62s also in. Masatoshi Kaneko for the 740. Ferrari also in. Going to be interesting to see what the 740 can do. It seems that for the silver class, that 740 was a real hard charger, but it was pushing a little bit too hard and got caught up in some things. We'll see what they can do. And I think this might be the 64 coming in, looking for the white line. I think it is. There you go. Yeah. Ayrton De Jong in for the 64s racing.
Yeah, we'll see just where this pit entry takes us. How careful we're going to be. This looks very, very tidy. Probably not. It looked careful but tidy. Certainly not like just suddenly stopping on the pit entry line. But yeah, change of tyres and at least a litre of fuel. But I suspect some of these people are half fueled up anyway, because obviously in ACC, you change tyres, it fuels you up as it changes tyres, so you don't lose any time if you fuel up. And Aaron Jackson in his Mitsubishi Eclipse is also in pit lane now to replace those drifted on tyres, and we'll see just how hard that was. As I think he's got like a danger manifold warning as well, Ryan, when we saw the cockpit before, so we'll see. What's Joe Dorber now? He's on his own. When you're on your own, Ryan, would you say this is like optimal time for you, or do you prefer having traffic around you to try and like compare your lap times?
I mean, for me, I definitely take the clean air. It's just if you're around people who are very similar pace than you, then it's all right, because you know that you're not going to get slowed up. We briefly saw the lights ablaze from Joe Dorber. I think that's Miguel Martins way up the road, kind of saying, you know, maybe that he thought he was going to catch up. But here, I think, comes in the 777. Yep, down pit lane, Joe Dorber comes. And what is going to be his pit stop strategy? Hard on the brakes, and there we go. In. We'll see where this brings him out. This will eventually, when he comes back in shot as he's just coming around the final corner. Well, I was going to say it'll promote Ted Edwards to the lead. No, it won't, because Ted Edwards needs a pit stop.
Yeah, and that's very careful. I think Ted was about half speed when he entered pit lane there. So Roman Fralla now in the 6 is now leading the race. I suspect, Ryan, what we're going to see is, and I think that's a car behind him. I'm not sure who that was behind him, but I suspect Fralla's going to go to the end now. There's no point staying out on track, but it's Les Stevenson. I'm not really sure if Les. I think Les is a lap down now, so we'll see. Noticed in the YouTube chat we have our own Ash Bibby now. He's cheering on his mate Jordan Daly, or Team Daly as he prefers to call it. But we'll see how his man's doing as he goes on. He's currently leading the pitted cars, should we say. I think everyone else except Fralla is now pitted, so we're going to see where everyone comes out. I think Joe Dorber's come out ahead of Jordan Daly, purely by the case that he's actually has he? I'm trying to work out where they are now.
Oh, it's a drag race.
It's close. Oh, there we go. Never mind. Judge what I know. Relying on the timing tower. The TV direction. What's going on, Ryan Mawson?
Oh, it was a drag race down to turn 3. Jordan Daly had to slam the door in the 777 to stop them going. We'll have a quick race replay of that. They are coming up to turn 3. Jordan Daly's got the speed. The 777 has only still just returned. You have to slam the door. You have to defend your place. And Jordan Daly said, "No, thank you, good sir. I'm taking this position back." The problem is for Dorber is that he's fresh out the pits. If he pushes on those tires, he will, he will cause damage to them. You've got to break them in early. You've got to kind of rein yourself in. You want to chase this person ahead, but you've got to think, nope, we'll get into the groove first, then we can go and chase him.
And you know how I just noticed who's just at the back end of this train as well, Ryan? It's Raphael Huel. Yes, he's recovered fantastically from his incident there on Daly. So maybe, knowing his pace, we may see him. We've still got 2 cars between him and effectively P1. But come back to your point, I think what it is Daly had just the overspeed through being able to put his power down earlier compared to Dorber from pit exit. So that's probably what the advantage was from there. But we'll see. I reckon Huel's probably really motivated now. He can see Daly's car is literally how far are we behind now? Probably about 3.5 seconds behind the effective lead at the minute, but we'll see. It's 2.7, sorry, so I was a bit off, but 2.7 behind for the lead at the minute, so I'm going to keep an eye on these gaps while as this fight develops, Ryan.
And well, Roman Fralla's in that. The 6 has finally come down pit lane, your leader of the race. So they've taken a little bit more fuel. They might be able to have just a little bit of a shorter pit stop. Could be advantageous for the EM racing car. We'll see where it brings them back out. As he says, the fight still continues. Raphael Huel's pace hasn't really dropped off at all. It's and that car is the most kind of heated up. Everyone in front of him has either just come out of the pits or is fresh or is only a couple of laps in. So they've got the advantage in that regard. And well, now Ted Edwards he's gone from the attacking to being the attacked as the 99s right up behind them, and the Audis seem to be on quite the hard charge here at the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, I think it's one of those what I said at the start. Really, it's surprisingly it's more of a power track, and I think that's literally because there is a lot of climbing to be doing, particularly on this first bit here. You climb up for turn 1, you climb up for turn 3 through turn 2. So I think you just gain that advantage with the extra power you have. So we'll see where Aaron Jackson come. He's as Roman Fralla now. He's come out behind in front of Ted Edwards in the Mustang. We're going to see if he can just do a bit of defensive driving. I think he's not got the advantage that Daly had. We'll see. He's still on the inside line. We're just going to hold up Jackson now, but Jackson can put his power down early from the outside. The Ferrari doesn't really have the power advantage that the Audi has. I think Jackson's just going to comfortably slot in ahead, and Fowler's thought better of it. Fair enough, as yeah, he's gone for a look down the inside, but I think Jackson's having none of that, and Jackson's using the power of that eclipse quite well there, Ryan.
Yeah, Ted Edwards now is he's hoping that the Ferrari will start to attack and kind of slow up the 99, so he can keep this keep the position that he's got. And as you said, it's putting the power down well, but the Ferrari's got a little bit more of a grip. Looks like once again, it's one of those, unless you're alongside by now, you're not going to do anything into these last two corners, really, unless someone makes a mistake or you get a bad run here. A little bit of more of a corner cut for the Audi, and that's what's happened. It puts you on, you have to lift, you have to get the car resettled. The Ferrari's going to be alongside. It could be all tears into turn one. Will they go too wide? And they will just about, maybe a little bit of no contact, but a little bit of a little bit of squeezing off the track, and now it's back to a drag race again up to turn 3.
Yeah, no, I'd be worried for Fowler because Aaron Jackson may have some nitrous oxide in the back of that Eclipse now, but probably electing not to use it this lap now. But we'll see for next time around. Maybe he's a bit worried about that danger to manifold, as he's still fighting for this position now. As and if I was Ted Edwards, I'd be enjoying looking at this in my rearview mirror. Just two cars that I'm trying to run away from, just fighting for position.
Oh, Ted's
working
gone.
out, and yeah, Ted's just checked out
Ted's
now.
gone.
We can't even see him. There he is. He's just on camera now. As Jackson makes his way past Fowler again, a bit physical that time, but yeah, just some minor door banging, I'd say. nothing to it there, Ryan. But yeah, now Jackson's got to try and push his way beyond Fowler, and he's certainly gained. Now that looks like at least half a second there on two corners alone, Ryan.
Yeah, now that the 99, if you've got out of the attack range, you can go back to your line, you can go back to your braking points, you can really start to pull. So the 99's now gonna have to put their eyes back forward, think, oh, all that time that they lost to Ted Edwards, they've got 20 minutes if they want that position to make up. Well, 3.7 seconds almost now. That shows just a couple of laps of fighting how much it can really, how much time it just eats up for these drivers. And speaking of battling up the front, these guys still nose to tail is Joe Dauber and De Jong, still within that second. Raphael Hewell's been hovering around about that 0.8 to 1 second gap. Not really, in the striking range, but he's there. That if these two start fighting properly, well, we've already seen you could lose 3 seconds in 2 laps. Hewell's right there.
Yeah, I'd say Hewell should be taking his time with this one. Maybe he should be fair. I mean, we've got like 20 minutes to go, so we've still got plenty of time. There's still plenty of things that can go wrong, and the way De Jong is may try and take Dauber, we could see an incident there or something like that. You just have to. I think Hewell's just in a nice spot. He's he's lapping a bit slower than these two, but I think he had a bit of a moment that lap, so it's just going to be a bit dismissive on that one, I think. But he's like a second back. Like you want to be about a second to half a second back if two people are fighting, just so you have that chance to react to any incidents. But like if you sit behind him like Hewell is, then you have that time just to see what each other's like. Is the guy in front defending really hard? Is the guy attacking him really hard? You get the idea, and you can start weighing up and assess how likely an incident is to occur. And if you think it is, then you just sit back and chill. But it doesn't look like these two are fighting particularly. They're fighting, but they're not fighting particularly hard, Ryan. So Hewell may feel comfortable just to skew-doodle up to this little fight and join in, I'd say.
Yes, exactly. And under 20 minutes to go now here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. It's been a great race so far, and as things are briefly calming down, we had to 20 odd cars start. Sadly, we've had another retirement. Malk lost connection to the server, and that will it'll put a downer to the start of the season, but there's still plenty to go in this Night Owl, and it's from the how amazing the racing's been. I don't think anything's really written out for this season. A quick thanks as well, while we've got some time, to our partners who make this and every and all the racing that we put on possible, aka Esports, Digital Motorsports, Driver 61, Go Setups, and Fanatec for putting on helping us put on this amazing racing that we're having. It's amazing to think now that we're on Night Owl, it's season 18. I think Jesse Lee will probably correct me in the background, but I think I joined this in season 4 or 5. I can't even remember. It's been so long, but it's still, the racing is always great. There's just something about Saturday night racing.
I like a bit of Saturday night racing, and another one, if you're not particularly fond of Saturdays, well, I mean, why wouldn't you be? But if you're not, there's a new championship on Sunday starting next week as well. Our man Kevin Boss is hosting the Sunday Grand Prix, but all 2-hour events actually. So every race is a 2-hour race. Starts our usual time at 7 o'clock UK time or 8 o'clock if you're in Central Europe. I'm not converting to any more time zones, so you can see on the website what time zone it is on your if you log into the website. Our webmaster Stewie's done a pretty nifty job actually. Convert it into your local time zone when the server opens, so you can have an idea when the race or how much time commitment you need to make. But yeah, it's a 2-hour format. It should be good. And that takes place every Sunday for a bit, so we're going to see. So we have a fair few sign-ups at the minute, but if you have a free Sunday and you fancy driving for 2 hours on a Sunday evening, then give it a go. I'm not really sure there's anything else. Just going through the website now. I don't think there's. Oh yeah, that's just it. We've already mentioned British GT starting next Monday, week on Monday, and just then the Sunday champ, Ryan, which is starting a week. Well, I say a week tomorrow, a week in 2 minutes for me.
Yes, you mean this is the championship for people who actually enjoy sleeping. See, whereas Night Owl is just all the people who don't sleep, and we come racing.
The people sleep. They sleep during the day. They just sleep during the day, right?
See, I've mastered it. I just don't do either, and this is how you become.
Either?
No, this is how you become Ryan Lawson. You see, you just don't do anything.
You just drink copious amounts of, where we're at right now.
Tea.
Oh, tea, right? Fair enough.
Tea,
Fair
all of the tea. That is how it options. And looking as well while we were talking about that, you see the brief run out from Raphael Huel. That's the only downside I would say to pitting early, is that now you might be starting to feel just that little bit more tire wear. When you want to attack, when you want to get close to them, the car and the tires are starting to say, I'm a little bit tired. With 14 minutes to go, you're probably going to have felt it a little bit. He's still in that striking distance zone, has gained a little bit, 0.6 of a second the last time he split. So he's getting a little bit closer. He just needs to hope that De Jong in these last, towards the end of the race, gets a little bit more, a little bit more aggressive and wants that P2 position. That'll put him very much into the fighting zone. But for now, Huel's just kind of holding stations. In the silver class as well, it is still the 177 of Reinhard who leads that. Pacino's not too far away. Once again, maybe if something happens, Reinhard gets some traffic. They're about 5 seconds back. We've seen what happens sometimes, with traffic when people start getting lapped, when there's back markers. It can all come undone for someone. And then there's, like I said, everyone else who's pitted. Les Stevenson's definitely not had... I think Les would say that's not one of his finest races, but at least you can say the 46 continuing on. That you always have to, you always have to tip your hat to someone who's, you still see the checkered flag through.
Yeah, there was a few like that last weekend actually. In the 24, we had one of the, I think it was a Lexus, it was like the RK9 team. Full credit to them. I think they're like 30 laps down, but they still finished the race. So yeah, it's always like one of the things we say in RCI is just we always applaud the winners, but we also applaud the people that just stuck to it basically, and full credit to them. As think it's sticking to someone. Roman Fralla still sticking to the back of Aaron Jackson's Mitsubishi Eclipse at the minute, Ryan. So this fight's not going away anytime soon.
No, and I thought that the 99 might regain the time on Ted Edwards, because when they were fighting, it did seem that the Audi did have the same if not better pace than the Mustang, but Ted has still kept that 5-second gap after these guys started fighting. So the Mustang, in its own little air gap, is definitely quite happy on its own. But speaking of gaps that are closing, Raphael Huel now really started to close up to the back of De Jong. They've kind of heard maybe it's the time now to start pushing just a little bit more. Maybe they've been holding off on the BMW until the last couple of laps, because you don't want to push too hard. And as well, now that they've kind of got a little bit of clear airspace, you've got the 197, Jordan Daly, he's going to come up to a back marker soon. But other than that, I think for a good number of the laps at the end of this race, these guys are going to be clear to fight. So it's going to be very interesting if the 64 makes a move, because there's no back markers, there's no anyone to give you that tactical advantage. You can maybe put a car between you, or you can maybe slow someone up, because they have to get around them. It's literally just going to be these guys to the end.
Yeah, and I was going to say, just to notice Raphael Huel's interesting exit through turn 1 there. That's definitely track limit ping, I'm going to say, for that one.
You get 3 to use. It's just being he's just being tactical. He's just being tactical. It's like poker. You got a whole got those 3 cards, and he's using one of them.
Oh, what 3 cards? I've never played this. You have to show me this version of poker you're on about.
Three card poker. It's a case of you're done, or you're done. That's just how it works.
You're done, or you're done.
Yes.
Okay, I've never heard of this one, so you'll have to tell me later on. But Raphael Huel there, just sneaking up to the back of these two now. I'm going to say that the last 2 laps they've been about similar in pace, but I think for Huel it's just going to be about, well, we've got 10 minutes to go, so what's that now? I'm going to say it's about 7 laps of the line, I think, Ryan, I hope. I'm going to check that now while I'm thinking
He's
what that is.
He's going to do. We don't have the.
I can't. Yeah, so we don't have the advanced things called the calculator, so I'm just gonna.
No, we don't have Jesse Lee math.
We don't have Jesse Lee's famous calculator either.
I was gonna say we need to get all the classes.
It is 7 laps. It is 7 laps. It is 7 laps. I am pretty good at that. So well done me. And it's not like I do engineering for a living, but I'm not paid to do mathematics at the minute. Jesse Lee trying to be snarky in my ear. Bloody. He's quipping in our ear. If only people could hear Jesse Lee's quips, they'd love that, wouldn't they? But you can always just put them in the chat and just say, "This is what I said to them, chat. This is what I said to them." But anyway, yeah, as we see, this fight's just getting a bit tasty now. And what's this now? Juan Martins is that red card is just sneaking by now. Would you say John? Ryan.
I am now John Dalton.
You are now John Dalton. Anyway, Ryan Mawson, if you wouldn't mind being Ryan Mawson again for me. If you see these, never mind. He's gone off the track.
I would do exactly that. I would look in the mirror and just nope. Just
nope out there.
Just nah. You know what? Not today. Ta-ta,
yes,
bye-bye. I'm off over here. So as he says, it's getting spicy. I thought that was going to happen. The 64 had a look. It's closed the gap up, and now you can have an attack.
Have we noticed there's a certain Mustang that's not here anymore?
Yes, because he's in front of the 115. Grim Lilith has lost the spot. So Grim's ended up spun the last lap. Yeah, look, a 137.5.
And they're still fighting behind him as well.
And they're still fighting behind us. There goes the Ferrari alongside the Audi / Evo / Mitsubishi, whatever we're going to call it this lap. And they get by now. Just run
What do you mean? What we're going to call it this lap? I've been calling it the same thing this whole race.
You see, this is I call it everything.
good.
I'm consistently inconsistent. That's the
That
one
is the
thing
best
about
kind
me.
of consistent, Ryan.
Yes, and that also applies for my racing. This is why people don't hire me to race with them anymore.
No, that's just called consistent. You're just consistently fun. That's what it is, Ryan. You just got to think of it like that.
Yeah, you got to add some spice to your endurance races. We've
Yeah,
also had
exactly.
the 12. There's
My God.
a yellow flat. Oh no, that's Juan Martin's. That's the little red Ferrari. I wonder
Little-
if that's where is
There he is.
there he is. Oh, with heavy damage to the front. Now
Yeah,
has this
must have-
been a oh, that
Ooh,
has been a Ferrari moment.
that is a
has
little Ferrari that couldn't.
that has been a Ferrari
Personally.
moment. That has we only caught the tail end of it, but the angle the car's at, you know that the rear end possible a little bit too much curb taken. The rear end's given out. Once you're on the grass, you're just a passenger. You are just a complete
Yeah.
passenger. It doesn't matter what you do to that. You are going on the trajectory you're now on.
Oh, I was going to say Huel. I was really worried because it's one of those things in that braking zone where it's like, I think because the BMW's brakes are better than the McLaren's, you just start edging closer to the back of it. It's like, oh no, we're gonna hit him, but thankfully Huel's thought better of it. As we're still edging, we're still just getting ever so slightly closer in these braking zones. I think this is where Huel's gonna be most frustrated, should we say, coming through these, where he's not close enough to make an attack, but because his brakes are more efficient than that McLaren's, you sort of have to try and like make your line unoptimized just to avoid an incident, Ryan, basically.
Yeah, and as you can see, he's sawing at the wheel there, trying to push the BMW everything that they can. But it also doesn't help in the BMW when you have 2.7 kilometers of bonnet in front of you that you've got to.
Is it that long?
You've got to really think about. Yes, that
You
is
sure you're not thinking
factual.
of the M6?
No, it is factual. I have
the
the I
M6
have the
then?
I have the fact. Oh, that's like another county. That's a
Like an
different
aircraft,
postal.
that's like an
That's
aircraft
that's a
carrier.
different postal code from the end of that. If you actually wanted to walk down to the end of the bonnet, will the 21 have the
Walk
better
down.
launch?
Walk down to the end of the bonnet.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
no.
think the 21 might have a little bit more of a better run here. Will they cover it off? Will De Jong cover it off? No, they won't. It's going to be Raphael Huel who's good on the brakes. We've already seen it up the inside, but can the 64 hold it around the outside using the
Wow.
McLaren's acceleration? They cannot. Will they have a look into this corner though? I think they might do. Looks, fills the mirrors, backs out of it, and yeah, they're not going to go. So is Raphael Huel back up into P3? He's got 4 minutes 50 left if he wants to chase down Joe Dorber, which will be for his class. Potential battle for P2 here, but now that Joe Dorber's had that pressure taken off of him, well, the Mercedes might just be able to run away.
Well, we'll see on that one. Well, how long have we got? We've got 4:30 left. So, and that's McLaren just gone off the road there. But I think Lawson should see some more cars. There we go. Fair play. Well done. Well done. Some good back markers today, Ryan. I must admit. Back marker is, as much as people like to say it's not a skill, it certainly is a skill to know when to get out of the way at the best time and to minimise the amount of time that it affects on you as well. But yeah, it's one of those ones where just coming off of the racing line, letting people through. It actually, believe it or not, takes less time to do that than it does to try and race somebody to a corner and just let them through there, because obviously, like, you don't know, people don't know what you're doing sometimes. And yeah, so Roman Fralla now has cleared the Mitsubishi Eclipse of Aaron Jackson. I think Aaron's run out of nitrous oxide there, and now he's set his targets on P6, which is Grim Lilith in the Mad Panda Motorsport Mercedes. Probably going to see about the same sort of issues that Fralla had with Jackson, in that Mercedes definitely is a power sort of one. And we talk about walking down the bonnet, Ryan. I think that Merc is probably a bit of a runway on the front of that car, as we see Juan Martin's coming to pits, ready to repair that car. But yeah, going back, sorry, Ryan, coming back to this fight for P6. Who do you think is going to take it?
It's gonna be tricky, but I think Grim, maybe after the spin, it's it might have damaged the tires a little bit. Roman Fralla has really caught up in these last few laps, not including the the spin from the 115. He's only got a few fleeting laps to do it though, and Grim is no stranger to defending, even maybe with a car, you know, that is damaged or is a little bit, you know, not handling exactly how you want. So we'll see what they can do. But the Ferrari is no slouch in a straight line either. It just takes a little bit to get there. Once you've got the Ferrari wound up, then it really starts to pull. It also depends really on, you know, what kind of setup that they're running as well. So we'll see what the six can do. They definitely seem to have it in the corners, but it's just, you know, like I said, you can't really pass, and you can just keep it. If you can keep the Mercedes ahead in the straights, you'll be doing all right.
Yeah, no, I was going to mention just now that I feel sorry for Jesse Lee because there's two fights that are reasonably close right now. It's this one for P6. I think Raphael Hughes just there we go. Raphael Hughes just snuck up behind Joe Dorber while we're watching. I think we're a bit spoilt for choice now, aren't we, Ryan? Between fight for P2 or fight for P6, both matter just as much as the others do, obviously. But Raphael Hughes on his recovery into. What was that now? From effectively like P4. So yeah, after his little spin, after his incident with Jordan Daly, he's now recovered nicely. He's challenging for P2 now. Got about 1 minute and a half. A minute and a half. Jordan Daly's not past the line yet, but I think we're probably going to be on the last lap now.
Yeah, we will be. There goes the white flag down, and that will be the last lap. So this will be the last time around for Jordan Daly. If Raphael Yule wants this position, he's going to have to make it happen on this lap. Takes a slight look at the inside just to fill the mirrors, hoping that he can upset Joe Dorber's exit. I don't think it will, and this same goes for this battle here. Roman Frala, he's only got one lap to make it lift, but Raphael Yule moves to the outside. He's going to try. He tried to go for the hard switch onto the inside, turns the 777 hard into the wall. The 777's gone, stage left. They are on, there they are, they're back on the screen. A very, very sad end to such a hard race. We'll see a race replay. So he tries to fool him to the outside. The Mercedes brakes, tries to spot to the inside. It's not going to happen. But I love how Jesse Lee in our ears is like, good news, everybody. Jordan Daly's just
depends. It depends if the 64 gets promoted to pro as well. I think as well, but
just a potential there. There is just a potential that the 64 could be promoted here. He is that 64 has shown some great pace this entire race. Looking at it in the silver class, so it's Jordan Daly for the Just Gamers Racing Team will come across here and take the checkered flag at Austria at the Red Bull Ring for season 18, race 1 at Night Owl. What a race, and De Jong, a great race from them. Very, very fast, very consistent in that 64 McLaren. Takes P2, P1 in the silver class. It will be Joe Dorber let back by after the spin. Raphael Hule will have to slot for P4. And Ted Edwards, wherever he is, he's coming around the last corner now. There he is. Surprise from Ted Edwards, P5 in the Mustang. What a good climb up from the field, kept his nose clean, had some great racing, and yeah, what a race from them.
Yeah, pretty interesting race from some. I think it's one of those ones where this sort of track just encourages certain driving. I think for Huel, completely like accidental. I think he pictures in his head that he could do like an epic switch back, Daniel Ricciardo style, and left it a bit too late to try that one, I think. So, unfortunately, I'm going to say that my initial reaction would be that that's completely on him, and I think Raphael will be the first person to admit that as well. He's a fair driver, so we'll see on that one. But never mind. Apart from that one blotch on his copybook with Huel as well, Jordan Daly had a very impressive race. Kept it as clean as he could, but we'll see what happens with that incident as just going through some of the other ones. I think I'm going to assume Ryan Mawson that De Jong is going to get promoted. So I'm going to say the potential podium for silver is probably going to be Reinhardt, Pacina, and Kerrigan. But we'll see on that one. I think we saw Callum Kerrigan probably run out of fuel or something like that at the line. I saw him just at the when you go back on the broadcast later on, you'll probably see him just on the right. But yeah, pretty good race. Certainly wasn't short of incidents, was it, Ryan?
No, race one of Night Owl, especially at the Red Bull Ring, we're expecting some, some very hard racing, and well, is exactly what we got. As you says, these are the, pending silver results. De Jong takes silver lead by a county mile, but as he says, we'll see what exactly happens for them. Reinhardt in the 177 kept the nose clean, and well, they were there in P2. Pesina had some good battles earlier on. You just think maybe they could have done some a bit more had they not been tangled up in that lap one madness. And Callum Kerrigan, one lap down in the 28, and as he says, that's the pink McLaren that we saw on the line. I think by then as well, I think it was less that they'd ran out of fuel. I think it was more that they saw Jordan Daly coming and they thought, just let the checkered flag drop so I can end this race.
It's had some good fights, to be honest. I've enjoyed it today. It's the hour flew by, so well done to everyone. Some solid racing from most of you. Just a few little blotches here and there, but fairly solid. But we'll see what comes up. But yeah, Red Bull Ring. Well, I was told it was a pretty rubbish track from what some people have said, but I quite enjoy it, Ryan Wilson.
It is definitely a very interesting track, a very different style of racing because of the long straights and the how much one turn can affect you, and there's a lot of corners as we saw tonight where you think people can go too wide. Well, they can't necessarily. And well, joining us is going to be Jordan Daly, winner of the race.
Hello.
So how was that from your end, Jordan Daly?
An undeserved win, I'd say. I'm pretty disappointed. Obviously, the incident with Huel earlier on before I pit, I just broke in a little bit late, tapped him. And once I seen his rear going round after I'd like held up after hitting him, I knew we were kind of out of it, so I carried on at that point. I was actually. I was sat there with Ted and I'm praying for him. I'm going, go on Neil, I thought he were going to pass it over and I were going to slow down for him and give it him back at the end, but unfortunately I think something happened between them. Left me in a bit of a, I'll just finish the race. Yeah, I just thought I'll finish the race, I'll take whatever comes. But GG's for everybody, there was some mega pace going on.
Yes. I was gonna say, Daly, a bit hot today. Did you have any trouble with your tyres, or were they fairly solid the way through?
I'd say yeah. So like first 10 minutes pretty easy. You start to feel it after that, especially through the S's, through the middle sector, where it's quite. It takes quite a. I don't even know the word. It
takes a toll on the tyres.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, it does. It takes a huge toll on those tyres, and you can't put the same laps down. I found a big kick-off after 10 minutes. It starts to slowly die on you, and I think the lower fuel obviously helped to preserve the pace more than anything.
So fair play, Daly. I was going to ask you about your incident with fuel, but fair play. You've put your hands up straight away, and that's all that we appreciate in RCIs when they get into incidents, put their hands up. We were saying on the cast it looked completely accidental. The sort of drivers we have, so fair enough. But yeah, going through the calendar for Night Owl Daily. Hang on, I've lost it now. Hang on, I've got to get it back up. I'm gonna get it back up. Hang on, I've got to get it to bloody amateur hour right here. Sorry. So next round, the next rounds, Daily take us to Brands, Kyle Army's Older, Bathurst, and the GP version of the Nürburgring. Is there any particular track you're looking forward to?
Kyle Army and Bathurst mainly out of the rest of the choices there. I do like them all, but While I'm here, I always enjoy driving, and to be fair, we've not drove Bathurst for a little while, so it'd be nice to drive that again. I enjoy it. Obviously, you got to have a crazy pace through the mountain and stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it all. Really, I want to get back on the road and hopefully get another championship under the belt.
Yes, we'll see. Right, Ryan, any questions from you?
I think, like I said, that's about covered it. And well, championship goals is from Jordan Daly, the winner of race 1 here at the Red Bull Ring. Before we go, Daly, you got anyone you want to shout out?
Both my teams race Ventura, which we got a podium in a 6-hour Watkins today. My other team, Speed Juice and Ice Floor, who I race for on the regular. And my missus, who always supplies me along the way through my races, and you guys for putting these races on.
So there we go. That is the secret to Jordan Daly's speed is have a very have a good team and a supportive missus. So thank you everyone for watching tonight from here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. It's been some great racing. Great to see everyone in chat again. Some great names and very common names here at Night Owl. We'll hopefully see you in 1 week's time when we'll be back in England at Brands Hatch, which I'm sure that track is going to put on some great racing. So until next time from me, we'll be seeing you.